Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Beyond the Blackboard. In this episode we're talking about why you have to do your homework. Now this is maybe the choir, what's the expression there? This is maybe preaching to the choir. Maybe you already do your homework every time. Maybe you sometimes do. But whatever you think about homework, however often you do it, I wanted to do this summary video about how important it is to actually do your homework rather than just doing it for the sake of doing it, to impress your teachers, to do extra work for the sake of it. What is actually happening in your learning, in your brain, when you're doing homework? Because it turns out a lot of very intelligent people have done extensive research into the extent that homework is helping you. So let's go. So what I'm hoping is, by describing why you have to and should be doing your homework, every single time that you feel demotivated, you think to yourself, yes, this is why I'm here, this is why I'm doing this. It's not just a meaningless task that has no purpose to it. But just before we get started, if you're new to the channel, hi, I'm Ran. I run Beyond the Blackboard, aiming to boost your grades, help you into university, and help you craft in general the future that you desire. So if that sounds useful, I've got at least weekly content coming out, mostly on Thursdays, so hit that subscribe button to stay updated. And if you fancy, give the video a cheeky like as well. Alright, so as I said, I did a thorough amount of research into homework and why it's actually useful to do. And this is the first thing I found. According to Epstein and Van Voorhis in 1988, they said the reason for homework was tenfold, and it's under the 10 P's. They said very scholarly that the purpose of homework was practice, participation, preparation, personal development, parent-child relationships, parent-teacher communication, peer interactions, policy, public relations, and punishment. Yes, I like that last one, punishment. Homework is, that's what I mean. People get very academic about a learning theory, and I mean they're basically trying to help you guys out, right? So I'm going to simplify that. I'm going to take a few of those concepts and explain in my terms, I guess, why homework is so important for your learning and why I found it so important for my learning as well. So I'm going to take 4: practice, preparation, personal development, and parent relationships, or peer relationships. I'm going to put those two together. Now, what research also found was that on average for secondary school, if you do your homework compared to if you don't do your homework, you have an extra 5 months on average of learning at your end of school. That might not sound a lot, but think about it. That is nearly an entire half a year of learning that you're ahead of everybody else just from a bit of extra work outside. And there have been extensive papers describing how important and beneficial it is to do homework. The people in general, the students that do the homework, get better grades, and those who don't so much. Now firstly, let's go over practice. Now it might seem pretty obvious that homework is in order to practice what you learned in your class, but let's actually break down why it is so important as well, through the theory of spaced repetition. Now spaced repetition is an absolutely essential part of your learning, and the theory essentially goes, if you look at this graph, that in order to fully learn something, you essentially have to forget it and then relearn it, and then forget it and then relearn it. And some people need to do this once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, whatever it is, but that is essentially what needs to happen to learn big amounts of information. Of course, there are bits and bobs that you can remember just off the cuff, but in general, in order to consolidate your learning, you need to forget it, then relearn it. I personally have found this absolutely true recently when I've been learning Spanish for the last 5 months or so. And if my teacher gives me homework at the end, in fact my teacher always gives me homework at the end, 80% of the times I would do it, and I find that going into the next session I am much more switched on and I understand the previous lesson a lot better. However, the 20% of time that maybe I'm busy and I don't do my homework, I find I'm drawing a complete blank, and it's like I have to waste, I don't know, 20 minutes of time per lesson in order to actually get back up to speed to where I was previously. So imagine that every single time you don't do your homework, you're essentially wasting maybe half of the lesson time for your next lesson because your brain isn't primed and it doesn't remember fully what you need to remember and do. You're essentially going in unprepared for your next lesson. And those little unpreparednesses will add up over time. They'll make a big difference. Next up is preparation. Now, of course, you have certain homeworks, and it depends what type it is, where you might be asked, your teacher might say, we're about to do this lesson next time, go and read up on it in your free time. Another key learning theory is that in order to learn anything new, you have to anchor a new idea onto a previously held idea. So for instance, imagine I'm an alien that came down and someone explains to me that apples are green. Now I have no idea what an apple is to start with because I'm an alien. So I can't learn that information. I have no concept of an apple. I need firstly someone to show me an apple before I can understand that it is green, and then I can learn the concept of green. So by doing your preparation homework in preparation for your next lesson, you're essentially giving your brain an anchor point to learn new things and concepts. Thirdly is personal development. Now, the main thing I think homework helps you in terms of your personal development is something that I mention a lot on this channel, and that's the road to becoming an independent learner. And honestly, being an independent learner is a superpower. If you have firstly the motivation and secondly the tools and techniques in order to learn things, you basically have the world as your oyster, because anyone has the ability to learn anything, and you can extrapolate that to anything that you want to do in the future, whether you want to be, I don't know, a computer scientist, a fireman, or a world skydiving champion. Whatever it is, you can learn how to do it. You just need the motivation and techniques of how to do it. And homework is essentially teaching you both of those things, the motivation and the techniques to be an independent learner, something that you're going to be using for the rest of your life at university. If you're not doing your homework or you're not doing your independent learning outside, then you're essentially just being a vessel for teachers to teach you. And I've got to say, I was like this at school. I wasn't very engaged outside of SCARS in my learning. I had very good teachers who would just spoon feed me the information. And actually I struggled with it at uni massively because when I got to university and I was expected to be an independent learner and do my own thing and go off my own fuel, I just didn't have the skills or mindset to do so. So start seeing homework as your own personal development and making a mindset of being able to achieve and learn what you want to achieve. And fourthly is peer and parent relationship. Now homework basically gives you the freedom to learn how you want to learn, and one of the ways you could do that is be sociable with it. So a great way is to bring a parent in and ask them to help you with your homework, or a peer or a family member or whoever it is, because it can be quite fun to discuss these concepts. And especially I've found with adults, they really like to kind of be reminded of their school, and even if they don't know the answer, it can be pretty funny to try and discuss what the answer is and show that maybe you know better than them. And it can be a nice way to increase the bonds in your relationships. The same goes for if you want to start a even virtual homework or study group. That's a really good way of learning as well. As long as you can stay on track and motivated, there's no reason why you can't discuss the work in your own time and again increase those friendships that you already have. Alright, so those are 4 ways why your homework is so important to do. Again, it's designed to keep you motivated when you just feel like at the end of the day you can't be bothered. Remember why you're doing it. Next video, or a video coming up, I'm thinking of doing a summary video of how you can maximize your homework and make sure you're staying motivated on it. So if that sounds useful, please do let me know in the comments. And any other videos you'd like me to make, please do also let me know in the comments. I answer to absolutely every single comment down there. And until next time, I will see you later.